It's Friday, January 31st. You're listening to your Florida Daily. I'm Katrina Scales. One of the 67 victims in a crash involving a regional jet and an Army helicopter was from Central Florida. 34-year-old Jonathan Campos of Ormond Beach was identified by his aunt. According to FAA records, Campos was a certified commercial airline pilot, although it's not clear if he was piloting the American Airlines jet at the time of the crash. Campos was also a helicopter pilot and a certified aviation mechanic. All 64 people aboard the jet and 3 soldiers aboard the helicopter are believed to be dead. Officials are still investigating the cause of the collision, but they say flight conditions were clear as the jet arrived from Wichita, Kansas, with U.S. and Russian ice skaters and others aboard. A national education report released this week shows students in Florida and across the U.S. had low reading comprehension scores last year. Despite efforts to reverse the learning loss trend exacerbated by the pandemic, students across age groups demonstrated continued declines in reading comprehension, with gaps between high and low-achieving students also widening. The new data comes from the U.S. Department of Education as the National Assessment of Education process, often called the nation's report card. Florida's 8th graders struggled in math and reading tests, posting the state's worst scores in 2 decades. The state's 4th grade reading score dropped to its lowest since 2003, with average math and science scores improving slightly from the year before. And an Arctic blast that brought a rare snowfall to northern Florida last week left green sea turtles as far south as St. Augustine suffering from a condition known as cold stunning. 17 sea turtles found stranded along Florida's northeastern Atlantic coast were brought to the Loggerhead Marine Life Center in Juno Beach, where they're in rehab. The staff gave a name to each rescued turtle, and veterinarians began treating them with antibiotics, fluids, and intravenous nutrition. By this week, espresso, pickle juice, and ginger beer were soaking up sunshine in the center's so-called party tank. Most of the 17 turtles are expected to be released back into the ocean in just a few short weeks. You can find these top stories along with breaking news, weather, and traffic all day on clickorlando.com. And now, a completely random Florida fact. Sitting abandoned at Reynolds Airfield near Green Cove Springs lies the concrete shell of a failed venture, once hoped to become the world's largest hovercraft design and manufacturing company. This unfinished hovercraft was built by Atlas Hovercraft, who had envisioned transporting commuters and others up and down the St. Johns River and other smaller waterways. Due to lack of funding and engineering knowledge on how to actually construct a hovercraft, the project was abandoned in 2008. The frame of this failed project still remains at Reynolds Airfield to this day. Your Florida Daily is produced by News 6 WKMG in Orlando. I'm Katrina Scales. Subscribe for new episodes wherever you like to listen.